Okay, good morning children. In the previous videos we have completed till activity 4. Now activity 5, suspensions and colloidal solutions. So finding of heterogeneous mixtures and suspensions of colloidals we will see in this. So he is asking to take some chalk powder in a test tube. Take a few drops of milk in another test tube. Add water to these sample and stir with a glass rod. So what is asking is asking to take some test tube. You know na chalk powder, what we'll write with the board. On the board we'll write with chalk. So he's asking to take that chalk powder and add some drops of milk and stir it well. Observe whether the particles in the mixture are visible. Can you call these mixtures as solutions? See, if you mix that milk and this chalk powder, will it mix both? And what happens? Now do the following steps and write your observations in the table. So what happens here in this mixture? After some times that chalk powder will settle at the bottom and the whatever the milk is there, it comes up. So both will be separatedly we can see with our naked eye. Direct beam of light from a torch or a laser beam of test tubes. Is the path of light beam visible in the liquid? So is asking to take one torch and put a rays to that test tube. Will the rays will pass from that mixture is not is asking. Will it pass? No, it will not pass because it's a thick liquid. It will not pass from that one. So leave the mixture undisturbed for some time. What changes do you observe? Does the solute settle down after some time? Yes, it will settle down, and whatever the light we pass, it will not pass. Light will not pass from that liquid. Now filter the mixtures. Did you find any residue on the filter papers? So that mixture, that test tube mixture, we can separate it easily because whatever the water that milk particles will come outside and the chalk powder will settle down. We can separate it very easily. Next, we find that particles of chalk did not dissolve but remain suspended throughout the volume of the water. So what happens? That powder will not mix with the milk. So this is called heterogeneous mixture. So what is meant by heterogeneous mixture? Means whatever the particles we add, they will not dissolve with that. So they will separate each other. Like one more example I can give, that water and oil. So if you add that both, what happens? Oil will settle at the top and water will be separated. So both will be, we can see separately we can see. So that type of mixtures we will call it as a heterogeneous mixtures. Okay, is it clear? But the solute particles did not dissolve and the particles are visible to naked eye, and that particles we can see with our eyes. Such heterogeneous mixtures are called suspensions. Such type of mixtures we will call it as suspensions. So what is meant by heterogeneous? What is meant by suspensions? Both are one and the same, but only the thing is that type of mixtures we will call it as a suspensions. So suspensions are the heterogeneous mixtures of a solid and a liquid, which the solids do not dissolve, like mixtures of soil and water. So same thing like a soil and water. If you take soil and water, so what happens? Soil also will settle down and water will come upside. So this is also one of the example of heterogeneous mixtures, or we can call it as a suspensions. So in activity 5, particles of a milk in the second test tube are uniformly spread throughout the mixture. Due to smaller size of milk particles, it appears to be homogeneous, but it is heterogeneous. Heterogeneous mixture. These particles easily scatter a beam of light. So what happens? So heterogeneous mixtures, homogeneous, but it is a heterogeneous mixture. Means we can just pass the light easily. Such mixtures are called colloids or colloidal solutions. So what is the difference between heterogeneous and homogeneous? Heterogeneous mixtures are, we can separate and we cannot pass the light, whereas homogeneous mixture they are stable and we can, if we pass any light, beam of light from that mixture, we can pass the light, but whereas for heterogeneous we cannot pass the light from that mixture. Is it clear? So such type of solutions we will call as colloidal solutions or colloids, and this type of heterogeneous we will call as suspensions. So these mixtures possesses the characteristics between a solution and a suspension. So they are also called as colloidal dispersion. So the such type we will call as a colloidal dispersion. Just underline this very very important things, children. Colloidal dispersions may appear homogeneous but are actually heterogeneous. They look like homogeneous but they are heterogeneous. We can separate it very easily. A large number of substances such as milk, butter, cheese, cream, gel, boot polish and clouds in the sky, etc. are some of the examples of colloidals. So these all are the examples of colloidals. Okay. So colloidal solutions are heterogeneous in nature and always consist of at least two phases. So they are heterogeneous mixtures. They will be having more than one mixture. The disperse phase and the dispersion medium. So two type of phases will be there in this disperse phase and the dispersion medium. So what are those? We'll see now. Disperse phase is a substance that present in small proportions and consists of particles of colloidal size. Like this much size will be there. 1 nm to 100 nm. Okay, this is nothing but disperse. Dispersion medium is a medium in which the colloidal particles are dispersed. Dispersed means scattering. It will move from one place to another place. These two phases can be in the form of solid, liquid or gas. So they may be in any form, any three forms, either solid, liquid or gas. So thus different types of colloidal solutions are possible depending upon the physical state of the two phases. Here are some common examples of colloidals from our daily life. What are those? Don't try to memorize this table. So he has given one table. He is asking not to memorize it, just for your information. So he has given one table. He has given one table that is only for your understanding purpose. So here, yeah, visible light. So this scattering of a beam of light is called the Tynedal effect. So this type of a scattering of a light we will call it as a Tynedal effect, named after the scientist who discovered it. You may observe this effect in our day-to-day life. When a fine beam of light enters a room through small hole or a slit, you can try to see Tynedal effect at your home. So suppose during early morning sun rays will form. Suppose if any small hole or some small space from the door, we will see some light rays are passing to our house. It will be coming from us, that small hole. So what happens from small hole? What happens? It scatters into our house. That is nothing but we will call it as a Tynedal effect. Select a room where sunlight falls directly through a window. Close the windows in such a way that a slit is left open between the windows. So just now as I told, the sunlight is entering to the house. So what is asking? He is asking to close the door and is asking to put one slit so that the sun rays will come into the house. You can also observe this phenomena while walking on the road having a lot of trees on both sides. When the sunlight phases through branches and leaves, you see the path of dust particles. So what happens when you are going, a lot of trees will be there. So what happens? From that trees will be getting the rays. So that is nothing but Tynedal effect. Due to Tynedal effect, this will be falling. Try to observe the Tynedal effect in the kitchen when the smoke from the stove is exposed to sunlight. So you can just see, so lot of smoke is coming from the kitchen room. You can just go outside and observe to sunlight. So what happens? You can just see some smoke is coming outside. So that is nothing but the Tynedal effect. Did you ever observe this phenomenon in the cinema halls? Yes, you can see the cinema halls. From the back of there will be one room will be there at the top. So from there what he will do? He will focus the light. So the image will fall on the screen. Now that is also nothing but the Tynedal effect. Have you ever got an opportunity of going through deep forest? Did you go anytime? No, we never went. But we'll see. If you go through deep forest, you can experience this effect. So if you go to the deep forest, we can see this type of effect, that the sun rays are falling from the from small holes, so whatever the gap is there, from there the sun rays will be falling. This is nothing but we will call it as a tiny dot effect. When sunlight passes through the canopy of a dense forest, mist contains tiny droplets of water which acts as the particles of colloidal dispersed in air. So this type of particles we will call as dispersed in air. Small particles will be there. That particles we will call as colloidal dispersed in air. We will call it as. Next, is ice cream a colloidal? Ice cream is made by churning a mixture of milk, sugar and flavors. So you know how the ice cream is made with the help of milk, sugar and flavors. So many flavors, whatever type of flavors we want, we will mix all those. This mixture is slowly chilled to form ice cream. So this all will mix and it will form a ice cream. The churning process disperses air bubbles into the mixture by foaming and break up the large ice crystals into tiny particles. The result is a complex substance which contains solids. So what happens? These all particles will slowly get to tiny particles and it will form a big substance, complex substances. That is nothing but milk fats and milk proteins, all this liquid water and gases. Now you can you guess where ice cream or colloidal or not? Now you have to tell me. Now next, properties of suspensions and colloidal. So what is the differences? We have to see what is meant by suspensions and what is the colloidal. So suspensions differences and colloidal difference very clearly as given here. Suspensions are heterogeneous mixtures, means we can separate. So just we are given the example of milk and chalk powder. So we can separate that one. Suspensions are heterogeneous mixtures. Colloidals also heterogeneous mixture. They are also mixture, but we cannot separate this one. We can separate this one. So the particles of a suspensions can be seen with the naked eye. We can see with our naked eye. Whereas the size of particles of colloidal are too small to be seen by naked eye. These are very small particles. So this cannot be seen. This can be seen. The particles of a suspension scatter a beam of light passing through it and makes its path visible. So what happens in the suspensions? When we scatter a beam of light through that, so we can see the path, how the light rays is passing, we can see through this suspension. Whereas the particles of colloids are big enough to scatter of light passing through which makes a path visible. Here also we can see it, but it will be very big enough. Here will be very small enough. The solute particles settle down when a suspension is kept undisturbed. When the particles settle down, it does not scatter light anymore. So as I already told you, when the particles is undisturbed for some time and when we pass a beam of light through it, the light will not pass and we cannot pass from this liquid. Whereas the particles is settled down when the colloidal left undisturbed. Even when it is kept this undisturbed, it will be stable. In the same way it will be, there will be no change in this. Next, suspension is unstable. The components can be separated from the mixture. So this can be separated like chalk and water, solid and water, sand and water. We can separate it, this one. So this can be separated. Whereas the components cannot be separated from the mixture by the process of filtration or decantation Centrifugation technique is used in separation. So this we have to use a centrifugation process for separating the mixture. Okay children, is it clear what is meant by suspension and what is meant by colloid? Very clearly he has given the clarity. Next, separating the components of a mixture. Till now we have discussed the types of mixtures. So we have discussed so many type of mixtures here. Do you know the techniques to separate these mixtures into respective constituents? Usually heterogeneous mixtures can be separated into their respective constituents by simple physical method like hand picking, sieving, filtration, etc. This is all we have learned in the class 6th. We use in our day-to-day life. So sometimes special techniques have to be used for the separation of the components of mixtures. So some like rice, like so many other like hand picking, sieving and filtration, this is all we have seen in the 3rd class. No, So there are some technique which have to be separated through machines. So we have learned in class 6 how to separate mixtures in a various ways like flotation, filtration, crystallization, chromatography. Let us see some of this one. So he has given sublimation. We know we have already done this sublimation. He is asking to take ammonium. This is asking to take ammonium chloride and salt in a china dish, and is asking to put some ammonium chloride and salt and heat it. So what happens after sometimes solidified ammonium chloride settle down like this, like a solid particles it will settle down, and vapors of the ammonium chloride will be here it is. So in this way we can separate ammonium chloride and salt. Oh, he has given one example of this one. Next, activity 7. Process of evaporation of water. So what is asking? He is asking to take one in a beaker. He is asking to take some water, and here lid will be there. No, here is asking to watch glass. Watch glass will be there. No, children. He is asking to keep that one and put some ink on that one. Ink, the ink which we use for writing. So he is asking to put some ink there and try to and start burning. So after sometimes what happens after heating this water, so evaporates. So evaporations, vapors will come outside, and what happens is this, whatever the ink particles will have more than one mixture, it will be having 1 or 2 mixtures will be there. So it will be started separating. But we cannot see separation. Only it will spread here and there, but we cannot separate. For separating this ink particles will have more than one mixtures. For separation of this one, we have to use chromatography. So what is meant by chromatography? We will see now. So here you can just see it. We saw that ink is a mixture of solute and solvent. There will be a mixture of solute and solvent. What is solute? What is solvent? In the previous video I have told you. Is a dye in their in ink? How can we find out those? Is there any technique to separate the different components in the ink? That is where chromatography would help. So we can separate ink with the help of chromatography. We can separate this one. What is meant by chromatography? We will see now. So he has given one lab activity, paper chromatography. So some separating the components of ink using paper chromatography. What materials required? Just is a CL. So this is the procedure, children. Just once go through. It's very easy. You can just understand by learning this one. Next one is separation of immiscible and miscible liquids. Miscible liquids and immiscible liquids. So what is meant by that? A liquid is said to be miscible if it is dissolved completely in another liquid. So if we take any one liquid that dissolves completely in water, that we will call as a miscible liquids, and which will not dissolve, that we will call as a immiscible liquids. So what are those? An immiscible liquid is one which does not dissolve but forms a layer. So it does not dissolve in water but it forms one layer, that we will call as immiscible liquids. Like oil is immiscible in water. Can you name any such liquids from your day observation? Is asking to see some more examples. So the remaining in the next video, children. Thank you.